My name is Leuprecht, and I'm the Munk Senior Fellow in Defense and Security for the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. So there's two dimensions to the Huawei challenge. One is the broader issues around Huawei and its relationship to the Chinese government regime. It's a company that receives at least $10 billion a year in state subsidy. So this is a company that has long been identified with misdeeds, has a long association with intellectual property theft, including from then Canadian telecommunications equipment giant Nortel. And of course, there's a questionable relationship both among the founder of Huawei and its relationship with the Chinese government. The particular concern relates to the way the internet is designed. So it was never designed with security in mind. And so one of the many weaknesses in the internet are what's known as top-level switches. So the switches are essentially what route traffic. And there's only a small number of top-level switches in the world and by definition on the continent. And so the closer you can come to equipment that controls these switches, the more of the traffic you are able to monitor, see, slow down, divert, steal, whatnot. The problem is that all this equipment has backdoors because ultimately you need to update software. And so the concern is that Huawei is one of the few makers in the world of switches. And so if these switches are used in top-level internet infrastructure, it essentially makes that infrastructure more vulnerable to exploitation by Huawei. And the threat is the combination of capability and intent. And so with the switches, China, through Huawei, has developed the capability to interfere in internet traffic. The intent can be realized in a way that is much more difficult to do with equipment from other more reliable manufacturers who do not have both the dubious business background and the dubious relationship with an authoritarian regime that Huawei does. The internet communications critical infrastructure and the data that flow over that infrastructure for the 21st century are the sort of currency that, for instance, oil and gas were to the 20th century. Why would we want to open that key currency up to exploitation of vulnerabilities by an adversary? This is ultimately the most critical components of both our prosperity, our harmony, and our ability to assure sovereign democratic political decision-making in Canada, which is why it is key for the Canadian government to send a clear signal